Have you ever been in a storm so fierce that it made your heart pound and your hands shake? Imagine being on a small boat, the wind howling like a wild animal, waves crashing over the sides, and rain stinging your face. The boat rocks so hard that you feel it might flip at any moment. You clutch the edge, your knuckles white, and wonder if you will ever reach safety. This is the story of a day on the Sea of Galilee when Jesus showed his friends, and us, just how powerful God can be. One evening, after a long day of teaching and helping people, Jesus told his disciples, the men who followed him, to get into a boat and cross to the other side of the lake. The disciples, who were experienced fishermen, knew the lake could be tricky, but they trusted Jesus. They expected a calm journey, a quiet night on the water, maybe even a chance to rest after a busy day. As they sailed, the sun began to set, painting the sky with shades of pink and gold. A gentle breeze moved across the water, and for a while, everything felt peaceful. Jesus, tired from teaching the crowds and healing the sick, lay down in the stern of the boat and fell asleep on a soft cushion. His friends, feeling safe, started to relax too. But suddenly, without warning, the wind changed. Dark clouds rolled across the sky like giant blankets, and the waves rose higher than the boat's sides. The small boat tossed and turned as if it were a leaf on a stormy river. Water splashed into the boat, soaking the disciples, and fear gripped their hearts. They tried to row, but the waves were stronger than their strongest pulls. Imagine the scene, lightning flashing, thunder roaring, and the boat tilting dangerously. The disciples, many of whom had spent their lives on this lake, were terrified. They looked at each other, eyes wide, and shouted, "Lord, save us. We're going to drown." Their voices were almost swallowed by the wind, but they didn't give up. They ran to Jesus, shaking him awake. "Teacher," they cried, "don't you care that we are in danger?" Jesus opened his eyes, calm and peaceful, like the eye of the storm itself. He looked at the wind, the waves, and his frightened friends. Then he stood and spoke, not with panic or fear, but with authority, with power, with the voice of someone who could command the forces of nature. He said, "Peace. Be still." Immediately, something incredible happened. The wind stopped. The waves ceased their crashing. The lake became smooth and calm, like a mirror reflecting the stars and the moon. The disciples were amazed. They had seen storms before, but they had never seen anything like this. The storm, which had threatened to overwhelm them, had vanished at a single word. Then Jesus turned to his friends and asked, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" The disciples looked at each other, awe written on their faces. They realized that the one they had trusted to teach and guide them could also protect them in the fiercest storm. Their fear turned into wonder, and they began to understand something profound. Jesus was not only their teacher, he was the Son of God, powerful over nature, and full of love for his followers. Think about the lessons in the story. The disciples had spent their lives on the lake, facing storms before, but this storm was different. It reminded them that even the most experienced among us can feel fear, and even when we trust God, frightening situations can arise. What mattered was whom they trusted in the moment. By calling out to Jesus, they found safety, and they learned the importance of faith. Even today, this story speaks to us. We all face storms in life, times when we feel scared, uncertain, or overwhelmed. It could be a problem at school, a disagreement with a friend, a difficult choice, or a moment when we just feel alone. But just as Jesus calmed the storm on the Sea of Galilee, he can bring peace to our hearts, calm our fears, and guide us through difficult times. Imagine what the disciples felt as they sailed across the lake after the storm. The wind was still, the water smooth, and the stars reflected perfectly in the calm surface. They talked quietly among themselves, still amazed by what they had seen. Every ripple, every gentle breeze, reminded them of God's power and presence. Every night since that day, they would remember the moment when fear turned to faith, when danger turned to safety, and when chaos turned to peace. Jesus Calms the Storm is more than a story about a lake and waves. It is a story about trust, courage, and the presence of God in our lives. It teaches us that when we face our own storms, whether big or small, we can call out to Him, and He will bring peace. It reminds us that fear is natural, but faith is stronger, and that God's love is greater than anything we face. So, whenever you feel frightened, remember the disciples in the boat, the storm roaring around them, and the words of Jesus that brought calm, peace. Be still. Know that Jesus is with you too, guiding you, protecting you, and filling your heart with courage and hope. Even in the darkest, wildest storms, God's presence can turn fear into faith and chaos into calm. If you love this story, please like and subscribe so we can share more adventures.